And it's easy sometimes to say, I don't want to make this political. It's easy to say our politicians should be the ones fixing this, but it goes back to community.
Right.
And being a human being. And just literally reaching out and saying at the end of the day, we own nothing and we return to the dirt. And it's okay to help someone. And we've gotten so far from that. Hey everyone, don't forget to subscribe, like, share.
It's a blessing. It's a big blessing. Not everybody is fortunate to get that experience that we got. It's very, very rare, unless you live in the suburbs. And even in the suburbs, it's just gonna be the suburban people. They don't have what we had. It was different. I only know METCO in Longmeadow and East Longmeadow. I don't know if they do it anywhere else. Maybe they do. We just don't know.
That's true. So I want to hear more about Springfield from your, obviously you do school here, but the summer times, like how was Springfield throughout the 90s and early 2000s? How did it shape and where did it start from your perspective and where is it before you decide to leave Springfield? We'll get through that part, but I want to know from your perspective, how did Springfield evolve from when you started integrating into East Longmeadow school system to when we graduated and a few years after that, before your travels, and we'll get into that.
Well, I wasn't allowed to go outside, so I can only speak upon when I moved myself from my mom's household. It was good in Springfield. It wasn't a bad area. It got worse after I moved and came back, and that was just because my mother passed away. So and when I came back, that's where you're talking about house downtown, and I'm telling you it's terrible because I didn't know it got this bad. I'm seeing the inside. I thought where I'm renting at was a good area, but it's not. But Springfield, more or less, it wasn't a bad place to be, a bad area to live in, or any of that.
During these years of school.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it's important to note because I want to talk about that transition for when you decided it was time. Well, hold on, let's back up. We get through high school years and you have your first child shortly after.
Because I graduated, I moved out my parents' house at 16, 17. And I made sure that I was going to get my diploma from East Longmeadow. So I was living on the street. And that's how the pregnancy came about. I found my so-called boyfriend, gave him my virginity, and didn't know much about sex, and now I'm pregnant. Here we go. That's just how it went down. I don't know. It's just, how fast it went. I didn't make sure to finish what I needed to finish before I started messing around the streets of Springfield.
So you have your baby.
Mm-hmm.
He's 15, about to be 16.
Mm-hmm.
We graduate. What are you doing after graduation, newborn? Your mother in the picture still at this point?
No, not really. I made sure to just be a mom and do it by myself. I didn't want any help. So I had jobs. I was working in the tobacco field, just taking care of them, sleeping in cars, abandoned buildings, but just making sure I didn't go to mama for no type of help, government assistance, and then we made it.
And you're kind of living, you have a stable house at this point, or housing in Springfield?
Mm-hmm.
So is your son, you were saying he didn't have the opportunity to get what you got coming to East Longmeadow.
No.
He went through, he's still going through the Springfield school system.
He had the opportunity when we were living in North Carolina.
I want to get to that, but before, right? So how long, let me ask you, how long are you in Springfield before you decide to make that decision to go south?
I moved by, I think, 30 something years old, like 33. But Abe was only like 10, so he was over there from 10 to 14. So he knew he wasn't in the academy band and all of that. It's just we moved back because my mom passed and we had to get to the funeral. So I left everything, and that's where everything changed, and now I need to be with my uncles and all of that.
So you were living in North Carolina for roughly 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You leave Springfield in, excuse me, let me just think. You're in 2017, 18?
Mm-hmm.
And things are still decent in this area to a degree. This is actually before the pandemic, so things are sort of quote unquote normal.
I wasn't here.
No, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just before. So you and your son, you decide to move south.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic hits all across the globe. How does the pandemic affect North Carolina?
It didn't. We didn't have to wear masks or anything. It was just normal over there. That's why when I came back over here and I seen everybody with masks, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? All of this for a funeral, and then I'm just stuck. I was like, wow, this is different. Springfield changed a lot.
So this is what I want to talk about. I want to know more of that. I want to know, excuse me, I want to know, your son's in North Carolina going through the school system. He's integrated with the band, you said, and he's probably thriving down there is my assumption. Your mother's getting close to passing, so you get the
No, it was fast. It was one phone call. I was picking him up, and then my brother says, you need to come first to say your last goodbyes to mom. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just talk to her. And then it took, I don't know if it was shock or anything. She's dead. We're about to have a few hours. So I was like, all right, I got to go. I had to tell everybody I'm leaving. I have to go see my mom. That's from there. I've been here since. Stuck.
2019.
18.
18, sorry. So 18 to 24 we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So we're roughly 5.5 years
Yes.
in. So you came really during the height of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You saw in North Carolina the beginning part of like everyone's still kind of doing their thing. It's not. That's another thing my wife and I have come across. It's like, it's like this everywhere. No, it's not. In fact, it's very different. It's big difference. And some of these other states were operating on common sense, right? Putting the trust in the citizens and allowing them to make educated decisions on their own. But that's another topic. And so you come up here, you get to see now Springfield. You're living downtown Springfield in the city. You see the entire Springfield shut down. What are people doing?
They're in straight panic mode, and nobody wants to touch anybody, talk to anybody. The mask, you can't even do anything. 6 feet, everybody, they're like so afraid that if you touch them, fights are breaking out. It was just ridiculous. And I was like, I just came down from North Carolina. This is what all you guys are doing. It's a flu. Like, I don't know. My son is good, I'm good. Like, everybody was really scared for nothing. And they started using their masks up here. Me, not so much. When they finally said we can choose, I was like, finally, because I couldn't breathe. Thank God, because y'all were tripping. I don't know what was going on.
We weren't here for it.
Yo, it was crazy. I said, wow.
So you're up here. No, did you have an option to just come and visit and return, or was it like hey, I'm coming up here, kind of get the family back?
I left everything because it was that fast. That's why there's a lot. It's too complex to do it in one interview, Giuliano. Like, there's a whole bunch of sibling rivalry going on. I'm supposed to be living in my mother's house. Like, I came literally with one trash bag. I was just immediate. Like, you're not doing anything to my mother unless I'm there situation. This is how we're here. Like, it's a lot. It's too much. It's too much. We'll save it for chapter 53.
Fair enough. Okay, so you come up here, You're dealing with the family dynamics. You settle somewhere in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
You have your son. Mm-hmm. How is your son adjusting to the new environment?
He's adjusting very well. He's good now, so I can't complain.
Okay. And this is the now.
Mm.
You're in Springfield. You've noticed some things. How's the we were briefly talking about sort of the drug addiction that has infiltrated the area. Mm. There's always been drugs.
Yes.
We know this. But just everyone kind of looks like a zombie at this point. What is going on?
Well, you're going to think I'm a weirdo. I've been taking on this project of inviting crackheads in to get their story. Some of them have some interesting, wild story. I think my stuff is bad, but theirs is bad. Like, some of them, their own mothers are the ones who put them onto the crack, sold their kid by age 8. Like, there's a lot they're going through. So I just wanted to see what led you to get here. And then it all came down to the pandemic. Like, they lost a lot of people that were very close to them that are no longer here. Some people just can't stand the heat. Then other people are telling me it started off with the doctors, and then they went into the opiates, and then eventually went to crack. Everybody has their own story, but it's like it's blossoming huge. It went from just being an urban thing to now it's going into the suburbs now, and they're coming in downtown. I'm seeing it, like, they're telling me they're from Northampton or Vermont, but they're coming downtown to get the crack. It's really bad, and you have to be living there to know, but they're everywhere. They have their own setups and all.
What are the stories that you've been talking? You talked to some of these guys. You said they were sold off at the age of 8. What do you in Springfield?
Like, to the mother had a boyfriend, even their uncle, to have sex with them, to smoke crack. Like, they've went through a lot. Age 8, their whole innocence is gone. So then you start to realize, like, these human beings were damaged early. They didn't even get a chance or a choice because the caregiver that they had did them wrong. And then they tell these stories, and I feel really bad for them. I'm like, dang. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in.
So you're telling me this is happening in Springfield, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. Adults now, but when they were younger, mm-hmm. 8, 10, 11, 12, maybe younger, their mother or their father mm-hmm. is saying, I am so addicted to crack, I'm willing to sell my only child or whatever child for the high.
Yep.
And when you say, I just want to be very clear here, sell my child to a predator who will do sexual things, mm-hmm. so that way that predator will give this parent drugs.
Yeah.
In Springfield, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. It's disgusting. It's sad. Some of them are 20 years old or younger. I be talking to all of them because I told you might think I'm crazy, but I have to know. I'm a very curious person. It's okay. I'm not going to judge you. You can sit up here, eat. I'm going to cook for you. I'm a chef. Really? All of that. And then they just open up, and I be like, my mind is blown. Because I'm a real mom. I couldn't imagine doing something like that to my child. That's crazy at all. But whatever. To each their own. They have to all answer to God one of these days. One of these days they're going to have to talk to him.
I don't even know what to say. I don't think it's the series, going back on the series and how we started, uncovering our roots. And we were talking offline about this. There's typically what we have found, my wife and I, we recently moved back to this area, and what we've experienced is there's all this measuring against each other. Mm-hmm. And instead of saying it's okay. There's people that are doing better than you, and there's people that are doing worse than you. But what common grounds can we find, and can we just enjoy each other's company in life? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that this also goes deeper, but the lack of opportunity in this area then fosters this conversation about others with like cliques of people, groups of people.
Right.
Right?
Social status is a real thing.
Right? And it's highlighted here. I would say it's highlighted pretty significantly.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, my wife and I, since marrying my wife, we've lived collectively, I think we're on our 4th state together. And I've been to all but 2 states. I've lived in like at least 9 or 10. And it's very interesting. Like you said, when you came north from North Carolina back to this area, the social status stuff. And here we are, I'm going to do the whole full circle is, here we are, and you drop this bomb like this, this person who's doing crack that others would just immediately judge as a crackhead, write them off. The reason that person is the way they are is because they may have been sold off for sexual favors. And I want to really drive this point home.
That's supposed to be your parent. A child is supposed to look for their parents for safety. Now, when that's destroyed that young, who are you really going to turn to? Who are you really going to trust? You can't.
I mean, who is uncovering this? Who's, other than like yourself, right? You're curious. You want to know these stories. We're talking about Springfield, Massachusetts. I want to make sure everyone understands this. We're talking about Springfield, Massachusetts.
Absolutely.
Okay? One of the greatest cities of modern history just up a decade ago. And we got kids being sold off into sexual slavery for favors.
For a rock. A piece of rock.
What is our community doing?
Nothing, because they're dismissive. They're saying that they have these holy clothes, they smell funny, and you have a choice, get a job. Like, you don't know that you're just going by a book by its cover. That's all you know. You're not treating them like God wants us to treat everybody, as a human being. They're not an animal. They're a human just like you. And just like you're in this comfortable, and it just as quick as you get it, it can get taken away from you because you were not humble to begin with. You judging this person, you don't know nothing about them. It's not your place. Just be kind. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to break your pocket to say, I'm going to go buy you a slice of pizza. Or I'm going to get you a pair of socks from the Dollar Tree that only costs $1 and some change. It's not going to hurt you. And you will learn so much more. And they can teach you some things you didn't even know. Some of them have been vets and everything else on top of that. They serve their country on top of that, and they still treat it like trash. It's not going to get anywhere because it's all about the social status. We'll do these, what do they say, volunteer work and stuff, but we're going to write it off in our taxes. That's as far as our caring goes. But to get really personal and go out in the street and really care, that's a lot of work. We're not doing that. We're too much important people. Let them do it amongst themselves if they care enough so much. Nobody's going to do it, Giuliano. It's very slim. It's only a weirdo like me bringing them into my comforts of my home because I ain't got nothing but time. It's okay, let me make you a beer. And that's enough. They take care of me. When I ain't got it, they come out of nowhere. And I'm like, don't talk out loud, tell them what I do. That's for you. Oh, yeah, I did it, okay. Oh, yeah, tell the people. It's not for show or bragging rights. I did it because I cared. And you can see people's soul through their eyes. There's a lot of hurt. You needed it out. That's what my random behind was here for. I'm hurt too. But just because you don't need to be hurt people. No, sometimes killing with kindness works too.
Zuray's world, what is the fix?
The fix is to just listen. Just let them talk. Don't give your opinion about anything, what they need to do. If I was in your shoes, just listen. That's all people need. They don't need you judging them, giving them all this advice. You're not there. You don't know what they're going through. They just want somebody to talk to. That's it. Not talk that. They just want you to listen to them and treat them like a human being. It's okay. You can talk. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to judge you. We'll get through it together. And even if you do whatever you do after you leave it, I ain't judging you still, because you all right with me. I whooped your butt in some domino. Switch it up. Switch it up. They don't want to keep hearing the same old mess. They already know they're doing wrong. They're doing bad. Don't beat them up with it. How much more are you going to take away from them? Especially if you're doing all right. Does that make you feel good about yourself? Sheesh, like, how much ego do you need? It's disgusting. And everybody's closet ain't clean either, so I don't know what it's all for.
That's real talk.
It really is.
Yeah. We as a society have failed, and I want to bring up the piece of the conversation we were having earlier with my wife studying psychology. She has the different images, right? So, and I'm going to butcher this obviously, but the first image was like a white sheet. The second one was like a cup that kind of looked like it could have some sort of milk flavor in it.
Yes, I remember.
And then the last picture was of a cow, and the question was, what does the cow drink? And most people's response is, if you're not familiar with the test, is milk. Mm-hmm. It's like we've been psychologically programmed to automatically answer that. Mm-hmm. And the example you gave with some of these the fortunate souls that live in, I want to reiterate this, Springfield, Massachusetts, right down the street. Are we being programmed in this area, or in the states, the United States, or the globe, to just classify that as a glass of milk, or that the cow just drinks the milk?
Absolutely. Yes, we are.
Now, are we doing that knowingly, or it's sort of morphed into us just accepting in this conversation the cow drinks the milk? You see what I'm saying?
I think it's a combination of both. I feel like some of us really knowingly know, but in order for us to be able to sleep at night, we treat it as being naive, and we just didn't know. But we did, and it's not like anybody's making any steps because of, like you said, it's the programming that's tell their vision, this is what we're feeding y'all, so this is what we're going with. Don't go against the grain. It's a system.
Now, and you say the system, there are good people in the system, and we've met one of those people, and I want to keep reiterating her name, Miss Jackson Jones. She is a diamond in the system. The system's been built. There are some times where we come across people like Miss Jackson and some others who see through the system,
right,
and try to pull the veil back and say, "Hey guys, she did a great job doing it," and it's like, how do we as a society, especially in this area, it's easy that, like, there are people who you just described the lower end of the spectrum, and there are people at the highest end of the spectrum, and everyone else in between. There are people that genuinely want to try and change how people and experiences are perceived. I think there are. But they can't. Because, like you said, the system that's been cultivated here in Massachusetts doesn't allow those very few to change the system.
Right.
The culture has been almost woven into the fabric of everyone's thought process. And we're here, we're on the conversation of the now, because you're experiencing this now. My wife and I are experiencing a similar thing at a certain degree now, and we're seeing it. We're definitely seeing a portion of what you're talking about.
Right.
And it's not at the levels that you're actually witnessing on a day-to-day basis, but we definitely are seeing it. And we can't be the only ones who are seeing this. And it's easy sometimes to say, you know, I don't want to make this political. It's easy to say our politicians should be the ones fixing this, but it goes back to community.
Right.
And being a human being. And just literally reaching out and saying at the end of the day, we own nothing, and we return to the dirt. And it's okay to help someone. And we've gotten so far from that. Hey everyone, don't forget to subscribe, like, share.